Hi everyone, welcome to this new episode of Global Entrepreneur. Today I'm going to be talking about the International Business Model Competition, how you can qualify, if you have a startup and if you're in university, how you can make up to $40,000 in cash by winning this competition and traveling to the US, meeting amazing entrepreneurs, even if you just have an idea. So you don't really need to have a product. We didn't have a product and we placed them on one of the top 10 lean startups in the world because the idea is that you learn how to use the business model canvas. So let me get started. First, we're going to go to the business model competition global website. So a little story here, just like I showed you on my last episode, our startup competed at the local Purdue University business model competition, and because the judges really liked our process, they selected us, even though we were not the first or second place winners, to be the company representing Purdue to then go to the BMC. And this was because we didn't have a strong product or business idea at that time, but we had a very good validated process using the canvas, especially while talking to airlines and other companies. So we were the ones who qualified. Basically, let me just walk you through how this works. So you go to businessmodelcompetition.com, and here, obviously because of coronavirus, this edition or this year's edition has been canceled. But okay, so here we go. So the finals were held in Provo, Utah, in the USA. The cash prizes are over 200,000, with the grand prize being 40,000. So that's a lot of money. And then all teams receive at least 2,500. So if you qualify among the top 40, you're going to be guaranteed to get $2,500. So this is really, really, really good. So let's see. Let's go to apply now. So basically there's two ways in which you can get in, right? You can either do a qualifier competition approved by this organization. So us, for example, we won the qualifying competition inside Purdue, the preliminaries, and so we went straight to the globals. But if you don't win at your university, or if you don't have a university to apply through, then you can just go and submit on the online round, and then if you get qualified, then you can go to the BMC Global, right? So I guess what was good was that we had already gone through the process of using a business model canvas at Purdue, and so we could compete directly. We didn't have to go through the online rounds. But in fact, the other two teams that we beat at Purdue, they went through the online round and then still qualified for the BMC Global. They were very strong teams. In fact, they did very, very well. Their ideas were awesome. Let's see. So you're going to need an application form. You're going to have a 5 to 8 minute video where you're going to have to talk about your validation, your business model, and here you can use PowerPoint, Keynote, Prezi, or anything else. Okay, and they have kind of like how to prepare your submission, and then just upload your YouTube video, right? So here they say how to prepare. So basically, they just want you to look into these things, right? So I haven't seen this too, but I have seen this video several times. So these guys are kind of like the standard that the competition has set to watch. These guys are Outlet. They developed a baby device, or like a baby monitoring device.
Baby monitors, and we want to share the story
Yeah.
of how this sock is bringing parents peace of mind. So our story starts.
So this was a great presentation. This guy's absolutely crushed it. So you can just watch the entire thing and how they used the lean canvas and how they won the grand prize. Definitely worth watching it if you guys want to apply. So yeah, you just have a general submission form, you apply, and that's it, right? So let's look at the rules and information packet. I think this is going to be important. Yeah, so I want to show you something. Okay. just so you know, 2019, the finalists were these startups. We had an honorable mention, so you can see here, FlykeART, Purdue University, so among the top 10. The reason why we weren't finalists was because we didn't have a product back then, and we were at a very early stage compared to some startups who had already been working for like 2 years, right? But we still did very, very well. Here, just want to mention that, Global Sign and Snapwire, these are companies from Purdue. They also did really, really well. Their startups are really cool, so you can check them out later. And basically, you can just go in here and look at, several startups. We became close friends with, pretty much all of these. You can just go and see what startups are here, and you can take a look into, what different technologies are out there, and sort of what people are working on, and maybe even go on YouTube and see what they did. Okay, so this is the information packet. This is kind of important. So here we have the rules, right? This is loading, so give me a second. It's not letting me use this. Oh, crap. Okay, hold on. Let me see. All right, that works. Just gonna zoom in. Right. So, okay, so here we have the cash prize payout. So grand prize, you're going to get 40,000. If you're second place, 25,000. That's a lot for second place. Third, 15,000. Fourth, 10,000. Fifth, 8,000. Sixth to 10th, $5,000. This is where we placed. And then 3,000, 200, 5,000. So if you're among the top 40, you're going to make money. So that's really good, Again, the great thing about this competition is that you do not need to be a startup from the US to win, okay? So I highly suggest that you guys look into this competition if you have an idea and follow what they're doing to be able to compete. I'm just going to note one thing. The final, like if you compete here, you're going to have to speak in English. So if you're coming from a country where the language is not English, right? If you're coming from South America or Africa or Europe or whatever, I would say get someone who speaks really well to be part of your team, because the delivery really matters. And trust me, you're going to be competing against US startups, and these entrepreneurs are very sharp, right? They're very, very well prepared, and their speech is very well delivered. Their presentations look really great, their visuals and everything. So this is, obviously, like, getting to, a lot of people are trying to get those $40,000 or even 25,000 or 15,000, and they're really well prepared. So just make sure that you find someone who speaks English well, and at the same time you have good visuals, and you look into past winners to see how they did. Okay. So basically here they say that over 85% of new businesses fail within a few years, and that's because they don't use a framework. And basically what the IBMC wants to do is to educate and inspire like smarter ways to launch a business to mitigate risk. And the good thing about using a canvas is that you can just pivot and spend less money by validating your idea before spending millions of dollars into a product and launching to realize that there was not a product market fit, right? Okay, so here we have, you can read this later, but basically they're just talking about what they want to do. Okay, so here's kind of like a checklist. You're gonna have to complete how to build a startup in Udacity. I did this. You're gonna have to have a mentor. We did that. You're gonna have to read through all these documents. We did that. Here they have other stuff that's useful. And then you're gonna have to use the canvas, right? And here they mention a website called LeanStack from the creator of the Lean Canvas. You can definitely use that. It's helpful. Just because you have everything online and you don't need to be printing out the canvases. So then they want you to watch videos on the IBMC website, and then potentially read some stuff. Basically, they just give you all the resources that you need to prepare. I guarantee that if you follow this entire list, you're going to get a very good grasp on what the competition is about, right? Okay. So eligibility, let me see, team. So no more than 5 degree-seeking students enrolled at least part-time at an accredited institution of higher education during the competition. So degree-seeking, I'm not sure if they mean undergrad or also, I think if you're a graduate student or a PhD, you can still qualify, which now that I realize, this is awesome. Okay. Revenue. Right. Yeah, so you need to basically own a part of your company, and you also have had to not have received more than $100,000 in investment. This is just so that, they set a limit into how advanced you are. They just, really want you to use the canvas. I just want to see something. Structure. I don't think they mentioned anything about competing in previous competitions, so maybe I could reapply later. Okay. I guess I'm gonna send an email later asking them. Maybe I could compete 2021. Alright, so yeah, you have phase 1, you send stuff. Phase 2, you get mentoring. Phase 3, quarterfinals, right? So 10-minute presentation in person, and then 3 minutes of Q&A. Phase 4, semifinals. So you present and same thing, but you have 5 minutes, and then the finals. It's pretty much the same format, but you have 10 minutes. What's interesting is that all the startups that gave their pitch in this competition, they really pivoted their slides and got used the judges' feedback to get to the finals. I saw a huge change from the initial phase all the way to the finals. Even during those 2 days of the competition, people were just changing slides like crazy. It does help. So. Okay. Right. So here's the submission requirements. Right. You can look into this later. But the great thing about this is that not only they tell you what they're looking for, right? So they want title slides, hypothesis, test slides, result slides, lessons learned, and appendices. Um, they also give you the judging criteria, right? So did you use a canvas? Did you clearly say your hypothesis? Did you identify those hypotheses? Did you test those hypotheses, right? And they basically just like spoon feed you the information that you need to win. Results, others, right? And yeah, that's it. Like, it's so straightforward. I really like this competition because their guidelines are super straightforward. And yeah, it's pretty awesome. Okay, there we go. So here we have additional resources, right? So lean canvas development guidelines. Okay. So this is very important because the lean canvas is different to the business model canvas. You can use both, either or, but I would highly suggest you use the lean canvas because one of the judges and organizers of this event called Ash Moria, he was one of our, no, he wasn't one of our judges, but he was judging other rounds. He's the one who invented this new canvas, which is a little bit different than the traditional business model canvas. So first we have, here we have to list the top 3 problems and existing alternatives. Then we have the customer, and then the value proposition. So basically you start with the problem instead of the value prop, and then you talk to your customers, and then you create a value prop. This is kind of smart, right? Then you go to your solution, your top 3 features, right? Then you're gonna wanna go into the path to your customers, so the channels. Then you'll talk about your revenue streams, how you're gonna make money, how much is it gonna cost, right? Then you're gonna have the metrics that you're gonna use, and then you're gonna have the unfair advantage, like why this can't be copied or bought. So this means patents or trade secrets or something special about you that can't be copied, like like very highly specialized knowledge in a topic, um, stuff like that. So basically, this is smart because they partition the canvas into two. So this means you have the market the market side here with everything has to do with the market, and here everything has to do with the product, and it's your value proposition that brings both the market and the product together. Um, Here you guys can see this is kind of like a debrief of like what stuff, like what's everything you have in the canvas. So definitely look into that later. Um, right, and then here we have the regular business model canvas, right? So as you can see, this is the one I explained in my past video, but don't. I would highly suggest you use the lean canvas, 100%. That's a lot better than using this one. But I guess it depends on like how comfortable you feel. In our case, for example, we had a lot more about the unfair advantage and the problem and the solution. So this had to do a lot more with the product itself, that we were a product startup rather than talking about like partners and resources and stuff. So we felt like this was going to be a lot more important to use. And I just found this canvas to be a lot better. I don't think it's that well known compared to the regular canvas, but let me look into that. So lean business model canvas. Yep, there we go. All right, so there you go, guys. Here you'll find this canvas, so it's literally out there for you with kind of like explanations. And I think there's also a book on this, right? I think this guy wrote a book, Ash Maurya book. Let's see. Instag. Okay. Yeah, there you go. So running lean. This is the book. You guys could also just buy this. I think it has examples like scaling lean, right? These are just examples that they give throughout the book on how you can use a canvas to run lean and not spend too much money and build a business. So if you're more interested, you could also just buy the book, right? That could be helpful. Here, there's a blog this guy has, very cool, right? And here he talks about like stuff, how he changed the canvas, and why this is better. And if you have questions, you can just follow him and ask him, or go on LinkedIn. I think I have him as a LinkedIn contact. Let's see. Ash Maurya. Yep, he's one of my contacts. So, if you have questions, I could also just forward those questions to him. Just let me know. Yeah, very cool guy. I love his content. It's very cool that he's been running this company for so long, right? 9 years. Wow. Yeah, so he has a lot of experience in the startup world. It's very good. Okay, let's not get too caught up into this. Beat how to win. Okay. So, open to all students enrolled at an accredited institution of higher education anywhere in the world. So if you're in college and you feel like what you're studying in university is useless, at least you could just use your student status to look into these competitions and start testing your startup, dude. Like, it's not that hard. Download a canvas and start talking to customers and refining your ideas. I don't care what idea you have. Even if, okay, so first of all, you're definitely going to have to be passionate about the idea you're building. Otherwise, you're not going to get very far, right? But even if your idea is like has been done before, or if it's just an idea that you feel doesn't have a lot of potential, you can still use any idea that comes to your mind and start using the canvas and apply to competitions so that you learn, and then next time you have another idea, you're going to know how the process works. So see it as a kind of like testing thing. So if you can literally build anything, you can just go on Google or Udemy and learn how to run an app, or how to like at least have a mock-up for an app, and then go out there and show the mock-up to people, gather that data, put it in a canvas, calculate some costs and how you're going to make money, compete, and then potentially make $40,000. You don't need to have or even if you don't make 40,000, you can make 2,500 or like 5,000, right? And that will help you build your business later. And it's not just about the money, right? The most important thing here is first your learning experience. Second, you're going to meet so many entrepreneurs. So when we were there, we networked with a lot of people, and that was really great. Just the environment of seeing that, there's people out there talking about their companies. See here they have some Thrive. We competed against these guys in the semifinals, and they won, but it's because they had like really good product and contracts with like huge companies. That was very good. But yeah, just overall, like how people have been developing crazy products through the canvas is really, really cool. So I think you're going to get an idea on how this works, right? Like just apply to competitions, make money, that's it. And learn how to build your business. Hold on, give me a second because I don't know where I put my mouse. Okay, let's see. I just want to plug in this mouse so that I can easily. There we go. This should facilitate things a little bit more. This is okay. There we go. Sorry about that, guys. I just thought, like using the trackpad is not very useful. Okay. So that summarizes the BMC stuff. I encourage everyone to apply. Definitely helpful. Oops. Now I'm going to walk you through what we presented at that competition. So let's roll. I haven't really practiced the speech or the presentation in a while, so bear with me. Is my computer plugged? Yeah. Okay. All right, so first, this was our logo. Now our brand was getting better. So we are FlykeART. And here we jumped straight into the problem. So we said heavy galley carts cost airlines to overspend up to $680 million a year in fuel costs, right? So problem was stated very clearly, and we showed pictures of it. So it was, people could like instantly recognize what was wrong, right? And we said our first hypothesis was that airlines could reduce fuel costs by replacing the carts with an autonomous robot. So here we have the problem, and the unique value proposition would be having the robot, and the unfair advantage would be that it would be autonomous. Our customer, we didn't know whether it was airlines or catering facilities, and we would just sell in person. So first, to validate this, we read through the FAA manuals, and we realized that no batteries are allowed on board, so our dreams of having a robot were crushed. Now we had to pivot, and what we learned was that cabin equipment must be FAA certified. This only took us a week and $0. So doing your research matters, right? So here in red, you can see that the value proposition and the unfair advantage were invalidated. So then what we did was we surveyed 126 passengers. Like I mentioned last time, everyone said that having a better cart would significantly improve their experience, and they said that the carts were bad and they couldn't go to the restroom. We talked to 10 flight attendants, and they said that the carts were heavy, difficult to maneuver, and they would just break, right? So even though we knew that surveys weren't very useful or reliable to get data from, we learned that the end users of this product were dissatisfied, so there was something wrong. So now we came up with this new idea, which was a lightweight cart that communicates with the seatback screens of the plane. Our hypothesis was that these carts could reduce weight and so reduce fuel costs, and this CAD model and planning took us like 2 weeks and $0, right? So now we had to go through the FAA certifications again. We learned that the only certification you need, like overall, is that the carts have to be stowed during turbulence and landing and takeoff. But other than that, it's just a matter of the carts being robust enough to hold the food inside. So not a lot of certifications are needed. It is possible to build this product, and this only took us a week and $0. So we validated that we could legally build this, right? So now we pivoted, and we had the problem was the carts. The solution was a lighter and smarter cart, that would reduce fuel cost and the weight. And our unfair advantage would be that it would connect to the seatback screens of the planes, right? As you can see here very clearly. So we mentioned that pivot. So the next thing, we contacted all the airlines that you see here. And then after more than 400 emails and 31 phone interviews, American Airlines said that all airlines look to reduce operating costs, but not at the expense of passenger safety, comfort, or experience. And Delta said, we're not just interested, we're driven to reduce operating costs and to improve passenger experience. So this is a clear indicator that we couldn't just look at the weight, we had to look at passenger experience as well. This means that, the problem was now, the carts would would dissatisfy passengers, and we had to reduce fuel costs while also taking into account passenger experience. And our customer segment, now we discovered that it was the director of operations in the airline who made the purchasing decision, right? And then as we talked to the directors in the airlines, they said that airlines are migrating away from seatback screens because they get outdated too fast, right? This is true. Think about it. Those screens are ugly, they're heavy, sometimes they don't work properly. And now airlines are putting like a stand so you can have your smartphone or your tablet to use to browse through content or download the airline app. So now our unfair advantage was invalidated, and so we did more validation. We sent 30 more emails. We did another 8 interviews on the phone. We had 18 interviews in person with 12 different airlines. Aeromexico, Southwest, and United were the ones that really liked our idea. And so we're going to focus on Southwest because that's the airline that helped us the most, at least in this stage when we were just getting started. So we talked to Anthony Gregory, the Vice President of Operations at Southwest, via LinkedIn. And he said, I love your idea. Why don't you guys come to Midway in person? We'll arrange a tour for you to study your operations. And yeah, so he was a Purdue alumni. We played the student card to get to talk to this, upper executive. And so the 2 co-founders at that time, we went to Southwest, and this is Steve Contreras. This guy was awesome. He let us, he was so nice that he actually let us see all of the processes. It was really cold back then in Chicago, but he took us to board the plane and just see the problem for ourselves, right? So we saw that the carts were there, and Southwest mentioned that passengers complained that the carts blocked the aisle when they wanted to access the restrooms, and so we were now envisioning something half the width where passengers could walk across, and it would be better. And they also said that these carts were just that way, right? Because they were not used in the cabin, and basically, flight attendants would use them as storage compartments, and airlines would have to carry all of this extra weight for nothing, just because they would use it as storage compartments. So our second hypothesis was validated. There was a chance there to reduce the weight and reduce fuel costs. So then we asked, how do you serve passengers? And they showed us this tray that they use to serve drinks and snacks, right? And the other thing is the planes were already equipped with Wi-Fi, so we thought, why not create a smarter system that could help passengers be served while not blocking the aisles or not have to carry this dead weight for nothing. And so we came up with this idea, which was FlykeART, a smart airplane food cart that connects to the cabin via Wi-Fi. So now we had a much better design, much better looking design. As you can see, there's a tablet here on top. It's kind of hard to see, but basically our cart would optimize catering and reduce operating costs. And this design took us 2 weeks and $150. And so the way it would work is that passengers would use their electronic devices to select the meals that they want in waves, right? So you can select the time which you want to be served and what meal you want, and the whole system will log in all the orders in the touchscreen, so the flight attendants would see all of this information displayed. And so the system would have every single wave recorded, and and flight attendants will be able to see like, oh, don't disturb that passenger, or like, we've already served that person. And so the system would just sort out the waves in order so that flight attendants could serve in the most efficient manner, right? So they would load everything in the kitchen and just go here, and then basically distribute the meals accordingly. Initially, we also envisioned kind of like a lifting mechanism so that the orders would be easy to pull out of the cart. That was a part of it too. But as you can see, this was our product. It was just a PowerPoint animation. We didn't build a cart or anything, but the idea was, pretty innovative. And that's all that matters. We were just trying to see run lean before developing a cart on how people could adopt something like this, right? Okay, so now we had a much better solution in mind, and our customers would be Southwest, United, and Aeromexico, right? Then our third hypothesis was, can we actually build this thing? And yeah, I know that this card doesn't look great, but we tried building it out of wood, and it was in fact lighter, slimmer. It was also stable, and it was much better looking than the old cards that are currently in use. This is just a half size card because it's cut here in half. The one that long haul planes use are like twice the size, but basically, as you can see here, it's just made out of wood. It has a touchscreen here that fits very well. The colors are not great, but again, we were just trying to build a prototype. And so we visited Southwest, and after six phone interviews and 15 interviews in person, we showed them our prototype, talked to flight attendants, boarded the plane, and they really liked our concept. But obviously, they suggested some changes to be made, and this took us 4 weeks and $650 just for a wooden prototype. So then this is the new design we came up with, right? So now it had like two handles that would open up so that the wheels could come out of the sides. And then, flight attendants told us to use like white colors or something that look sleek. I really like this because it looks like an Apple product. It's very, it looks just very aesthetic, right? This one doesn't include a tablet because that was like a separate mount, but I just wanted to show the idea. This took us another 2 weeks and $150 to build, right? To develop, completely redesign. As you can see, something important here is that two carts can clip together. So we thought we could just clip two carts to fit them in the galley, and one cart can be used to serve passengers. So now our solution had changed, and then that was another pivot. So looking at the competition, there's three companies out there. There's Safran, the company that develops the all non-heavy carts you see on planes. Then there's Northern, a company that tried restoring all old carts and just using plastics to make the carts lighter, but they were not very successful, and the design has been pretty much the same. And then there's Gate Group, right? Another company that's integrating coffee machines and touchscreens and very heavy things inside the carts, and that makes the carts very unfeasible, right? So as you can see here, now we thought, our revenue streams would be we would just charge 30% of the fuel savings. And overall, as you can see, the problem was validated, solution was validated, our proposition was validated, our unfair advantage would be the Wi-Fi, our customer was validated, and the channels and the revenue streams were not very validated. But now, as we talked to American Airlines, they said we can justify a project with a 3-year return, right? So Safran carts go for about $1,000 a unit, and every plane, as we knew back then, has about 16 carts on average. This is not the case for long-haul planes. This changes. But again, we would think we were trying to now create a leasing model where airlines would pay us $2,000 down payment to cover the cost, and then just recurrently pay a lease for the carts, and they would require half the carts because we would optimize space, right? So this means this is a little bit confusing because again, we were pivoting. We didn't have a great idea. Basically, we would save $68,000 per aircraft per year so that airlines would break even after 24 months. So the revenue stream now changed, and we said we were going to license our technology and also make money from duty-free purchases, data analysis, and data storage from the smart system that our carts would use, right? So now we said, how big is the problem? Well, if we could save $850 per flight because of the weight difference, and there's 48,000 flights per day, and a third of the planes are technologically capable, and we run a 10-year forecast, the total market would be about $50 billion in 10 years. And for United, we could save almost $9 billion, and for Southwest, $167 million. So this was our final canvas. Everything you see in yellow was stuff yet to be validated, but basically we calculated $10 per line of software. We calculated the hardware cost, the FAA certifications, and the patent. And so that was kind of like a preliminary cost structure. And then the key metrics would be app downloads, number of cards sold, and number of purchases made through a system, and number of cards licensed. and then we would break even after selling 140 cards. So the validation summary is that we wrote more than 450 emails. We sent more than 300. We did more than 300. Sorry, we surveyed more than 380 people. We did 45 phone interviews and 33 face-to-face interviews, and we spent a total of 12 weeks and $900. Right. So I'm gonna stop here because then I want to show you how we kept on using the canvas and then kept on pivoting and refining our idea. So by this time, we had already spent, as I've shown you, 12 weeks. So that's only 3 months and $900, right? So we were just getting started. I guess what the judges really liked was that our concept was innovative. We were running very lean. We followed all of their canvas and how to validate it. We talked to airlines, and I can now see why there were some weaknesses in our whole model, our perception of the business. Here I can just tell how the cost structure is weak. The revenue streams are not very clear. Just overall the business case, like the calculations, was not very good. But considering that we only had 3 months and we were students at school, I would say this was pretty good. And just by presenting this with no product, again, just a CAD design that looks good, right? And we hired someone to do this. We outsourced the work. We made $5,000. That easy. And then those $5,000 we poured into building the next idea, right? So I hope you guys enjoy this. Next episode, I'm going to show how we use this design and transition into something different. And you're going to see how so with all of this feedback, we now were looking into changing the design. So we, instead of focusing on the business, we realized that we had to focus more on the product itself and just being a lot more clear about the value prop. And so we changed that. So next video, I'm going to show our new design. And then after that, I'm going to show how we pivoted. And we actually had to change everything that we had done to come up with another new design that was the final design, and how we validated that with the airlines. So yeah, I hope you guys are getting a better grasp on how to use the business model canvas too. So if you have any questions, please let me know. I'm very eager to answer your questions, and I'll see you next time. Bye.